Okay, hello, what's up? I'm gonna do a quick patch rundown because, like, obviously there's a lot of controversy going on right now, but I'm not gonna really comment on that because I think everyone has their own opinion. But let's just see what they have for tomorrow at least. So sixth job, again, I'm not gonna really comment on this because it's coming out on the 29th or 28th, I guess. So basically, they have 2 more weeks to resolve, all the issues that they've created. So we'll get into that later, but not today. So reboot changes are happening. So we're separating into Kronos, Solus, and there's a new world, Hyperion, as well. So obviously, I'm not going to be switching over to Hyperion. I know a lot of people are, or maybe not a lot, but some people are. And honestly, it is a pretty good opportunity if you're a new player or a returning player that isn't very far in Kronos. So, because there's a lot of rewards here, which I'm not going to get into specifically, but it should be pretty worth to swap over to the server if you haven't gone past 250 or whatever. So there is this reboot nerf that is happening. So basically the HP and EXP, well, it's a semi-nerf, semi-buff. Reboot worlds are going to have the same HP and EXP as reg worlds. So which means that EXP is going to be about 40 to 45% of what it is currently. But mob EXP or mob HPs are also going to be about halved. So obviously, if you're one-shotting, that's a huge nerf to EXP, which is kind of alleviated by some of the other changes I'll get into later. But if you've been struggling to one-shot, then obviously this could be better. But for majority of players, this is going to be a pretty significant nerf. So there's all these rewards that you can get for moving over to Hyperion. So yeah, I would definitely check it out if you're a new player. So there's the growth revamp, which is basically a flattened EXP curve. So I'm not really sure why it's in a bell curve. 240 to 249 specifically is 50%. Everything else is kind of a little lower, but 16% reduction basically for the majority of endgame players. Obviously, this doesn't compensate for the basically 60% EXP nerf, but this will help along with some other things. Okay, so symbols, 20 symbols for every region. Steronium is now 20 symbols. Odium, and basically you're going to see this from now on, every new region, grandest region, is going to be 10 symbols instead of the 5. So that's actually really nice. Reg server things. And dailies are getting reduced as well for VJ. So that's really nice as well. Grandest is also getting a revamp. So it's just 500 mobs in each region, so 500 for Cernium, 500 for Arcus, Odium, Shangra, whatever. And they're pushing down the difficulty of the endgame regions, so Shangra is now 275, and then Odium and below, they're all getting pushed down a little in terms of difficulty, so that'll be nice. And Shangra is of course going to be, which is coming out as well, I believe. Shangra, yep, it's coming out tomorrow. This will be the new endgame area for the next month, approximately, until Arteria comes out. So this might be crowded, but we are also getting instance maps, which I believe is later down the list. So you can see 10 symbols from Shangri-La. So that's going to be really nice. For 500 mobs, basically. That's going to be really fast dailies. So, Grand Athenium, new chapter, which is nice for lore enjoyers. Tower of Oz revamps. Okay, so if you've been following my stream, you know that I've been doing Oz for the past couple weeks. Trying to get a Reward 3 or 4, which I still haven't gotten. And I guess it's too late now, but yeah, they're removing Oz boxes from Oz and replacing them with boxes from bosses. So you can see here, endgame bosses pretty much. Bosses going from Lomian onwards will give boxes. Now, one of the concerns that players were having was that this White Jade boss ring was it's supposed to only give level 3 to 4 rings. But I don't believe it says here. But in the test server, it says 1 through 4 instead of 3 to 4, which would be a pretty big nerf to the ring box. But it doesn't say here whether or not that's intentional. If that was a typo, hopefully it was a typo and we still get 3 to 4. It'd be really weird for them to specifically nerf that, but Exxon's doing a lot of funny things right now, so who knows, honestly. Okay, there's also the Grindstone of Life, which drops from Callous and Culling, which you can use to upgrade Roar 4, or basically any of the level 4 rings, all the good level 4 rings. Oh yeah, Continuous 4 is also being added as well. Continuous 4 is going to be BIS for some classes, and honestly a lot of classes. You don't have to ring swap if you have Continuous, so I mean it depends on the class, but Continuous 4 is going to be also extremely good. And yeah, there's also a lot of changes here, which I'm not going to get into specifically because there's a lot of class specific changes. Ability, okay, so inner abilities it's getting easier to reset, so they're removing some lines, and yeah, it's gonna be really easy. So if you can, I would suggest swapping the drop rate to farm solar fragments a little easier, but of course that's up to you. V matrix, so yeah, so now we're getting basically more V matrix slots for everybody. So I think by the time you hit 260, you should have like pretty much every node slot. Instead of level 300, you only have to be level 260 now to get every node slot, which is actually really nice. What is this? Reboot world is glowing cubes. Cubes can now be bought in the in-game shops. I'm assuming just so people crash less to buy cubes. So bosses are getting a little better too. The big improvements is Will. So Will is actually going to be a much easier boss now because you don't have to wait like 2 minutes for the various tests in phase 1 and 2. So that's actually going to speed up Will a ton if you're like one bursting or whatever. Lucid as well, P3. So there's that one awkward phase part of P3 where when she's at 1 bar, she like freezes her HP and then heals a little. So yeah, they removed that, so to compensate, they increased the max HP a little, but for everybody, it should basically be like easier to do P3. So Slime got a huge nerf as well. So 22% reduction, and also the off burst damage reduction is lower. So this should make Slime like way more doable for everybody. Oh, this is actually going to be pretty interesting. Resolution changes. That's actually gonna be really nice for me because I play in 1080p, but I use a ultra wide, so like the window's really small. But this should actually be really, really nice. Yeah, 16:9 up to 4K. Not really sure why I want to play Maplestory in 4K, but you can if you want to. And let's see, max damage. They increased the cap to 700 bill. I mean, with 6 shop coming out soon, yeah, they should kind of do that. And let's see, Hyper Burning starts tomorrow as well. I mean, 6 shop isn't coming out until the 28th, 29th, so for a lot of players, they're not going to really have much to do starting tomorrow except for Hyper Burning. So yeah, there's all the stuff with Hyper Burning. Identisk Island, so this is the new event. Basically coin cap into coin shop. Pretty standard, honestly. I don't think there's anything that I really need to talk about here. Alright, here's another important thing. So they've actually set a time limit for this, November 15th to February 6th. So what is that, like 3 months? So they've instanced Sacred Power hunting zones. So the following changes will be made to sacred hunting maps during the event duration. Each map can be used by 2 players, and 3rd player onwards won't see any mobs. No elite mobs, e-bosses, whatever, and party play will not be available. Frenzy Totems effects will only be applied to the instance map of the character that uses the Frenzy Totem, so This is one of the big controversies where you can't sell frenzy services or whatnot. And oh, okay, so this is actually really good. The following perks will be applied to all hunting maps. Runes will appear more frequently, so every 10, so there's a 10-second cooldown, or 10-minute cooldown rather, instead of 50 minutes, and runes will now give 200% EXP instead of 100% additional EXP. So that will last for 3 months, so that's actually really good. In terms of Sunny Sunday, let's see, Shiny Star Force is on December 3rd, and I believe we are also supposed to get a cube sale on Black Friday, so that is happening back to back, which is like not that good, but so yeah, I mean, the big noticeable changes, of course, is the reboot HP nerf, EXP nerf, but it's not as bad as a 60% EXP nerf because we are getting the 16% EXP reduction. If I could find it, we are getting the 16% EXP reduction on top of the much more common runes and better rune XP. So, and on top of that, we're also getting Shangri-La and Arteria soon after that as well. So in terms of EXP leveling for 270 plus, it shouldn't be that much slower. It's obviously going to be slower, but instead of 60% reduction, it's probably going to be closer to like 10 to 20% slower. So I mean, that sucks, but yeah. So again, I'm not going to talk about any of the 6-drop stuff because that is still being talked over supposedly. So get more into that later when that comes out. But yeah, that's pretty much the patch. Yep, that'll be it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.